everyone, and welcome back to our Foundations First Education series. My name is Connor Reed, and today we're going to discuss how newly elected officials can effectively govern. We'll go through defining your role and what your life as an elected official will look like. If you've made it to this lesson, congratulations on your election to public office. Your months of dedication and hard work during the campaign have brought you to this point. Running for office is no easy task, but neither is governing. In this lesson, we hope to give you insight into what to expect and how you can be ready to go on Inauguration Day. A question you may be asking yourself is, what happens after I win? First, it's important to make sure that there are no recounts or challenges to the results. It usually takes a few days for results to be finalized. If you're elected to a position such as Common Council or Town Board, the president or head of the board will reach out to you. They'll cover things such as when the swearing-in ceremony is, when the first council meeting is, where the meetings take place, and where your office is. Most elected positions require you to attend a training or introductory meeting to cover how to successfully manage and execute your newfound responsibilities as an elected official. If you're in a clerk role, usually the mayor or city manager will reach out to you to tell you more about the role and the first things you need to take care of. There will usually be training for clerk positions as well. No matter what, no newly elected official will be on an island. You'll have many resources at your disposal to ensure that you excel in your elected role. It's always recommended that you reach out to others who are currently in, have been in, or are familiar with the position, so you can ask questions and ensure that you fully understand the position. For every office in America, no matter what level of government you are elected to, there will be some sort of swearing-in ceremony or inauguration. Most of us have seen the official proceedings for a presidential inauguration. The procedure is quite similar for lower-level offices. There will be some formal ceremony taking place in the Common Council chambers or other government office building. There will be a local judge who will administer the oath of office for your specific position. This is usually a more formal event with other elected leaders, and members of the community are invited to attend. It's a great idea for you to invite your family, friends, or other loved ones to attend as well. You accomplished a lot from your hard work, and this is a day to celebrate your achievement. If you're unsure when your official ceremony is, contact your local clerk, who will usually be arranging this. Defining and understanding your role is an important component of governing. Each office is limited to the scope of their responsibilities outlined by the local constitution or documents of the municipality or state. For offices like common councils, their role is to be a legislator for the city they represent. They will have meetings, hearings, and vote on bills. They will listen to and get input from voters and citizens of the municipality and decide what issues should be taken up for a vote. Generally, they will have different committees and subcommittees, more on this later, and will be the legislator for their city. For other offices like municipal clerk, your role will be to administer elections, oversee local tax payments, and approve permits for things like restaurants and construction. Rather than voting on issues like a common council member, you will oversee tasks assigned to you under the guidelines of your position. Prior to running for office, you likely have engrossed yourself in understanding the responsibilities of the office you were planning to run for. If you've not gained a full understanding of the role, now is the time to do so. Most of you will have questions about the role, and that's totally normal. It's recommended that you reach out to people who understand the role or have been in the position before, so you can better learn more about the office. If you're on a common council, be sure to reach out to other members of the council that you work alongside. If you're a clerk and have a deputy clerk, reach out to them or others in the office. Work with and talk with other people so you can define and understand your role to better serve your constituents. The office you are elected to will determine how much time in the office you will need to spend with this elected position. Some positions will require you to be in the office full-time, and you might receive a full-time salary with the role. Other offices are part-time or a volunteer position. You will need to see what the role entails to get a better understanding of this. For most elected positions, however, you may be expected to work in this role at least 10 hours per week on average. Certain times of the year, such as during the writing of the budget, you may be working more than other times out of the year. A key aspect of serving in public office and working in a public service role is interacting with the public, your constituents. For almost every elected office in America, interacting with constituents is a key part of the role. Most elected offices are more than just voting on a bill or overseeing an election. Talking with constituents and understanding their needs or issues in the community is very important. This is part of what drives public policy that will come across your desk. But part of your role is also handling the problems that constituents face with the government. Your newly elected role is far more than just voting on public policy. Your role in public service is to serve the members of your community and help improve their everyday lives. Let's take a deeper look into how to do this. An important part of interacting with constituents is ensuring that they have a means by which to reach you. Every elected office will provide you with a government email and sometimes a government phone number. Most elected offices will provide you with an office space in which to meet with people and work with constituents. Elected officials across the country often will have open office hours where people from the community can come in and talk with their local representatives directly and share their ideas, issues, or things that can be improved. Consider holding open office hours as a way of interacting with the community. You may even consider holding virtual office hours to fulfill this role. If you were allocated a budget for reaching out to constituents, some elected officials will send mail to constituents with updates from their office or a questionnaire that they can fill out and return with their ideas. This may be a great way for you to interact with your new constituents and for them to hear more from you. Remember, there may be a lot of people who don't know who you are. Sending them updates and getting their feedback by mail could be a useful way for you to get the word out about what you are doing to help improve their lives. Like we mentioned earlier, not every aspect of the role of an elected official is simply to vote or take issues on public policy. The role of serving the public goes much deeper. Part of the role, especially in legislative type roles such as city council or town board, is to handle issues constituents might have related to the government. Issues such as poor quality drinking water on their street, an issue with a permit for a home, or even requesting a stop or yield sign on their busy street. Any issue that a constituent might have where the government is involved can be part of your job to help resolve in some way. Talking to constituents and working on constituent casework can be an important part of this role. These issues can help you fix the problems of more than just one person, too. Just look at the example of adding a stop or yield sign on a busy road. These signs, if put up, could save lives and prevent future accidents. Constituent casework can also improve lives for the entire municipality. In our example of poor quality drinking water, if a local legislator hears that a neighborhood or part of the city has poor quality drinking water, they can send policy initiatives to drive future policy to address the issue. Constituent casework can help improve the lives of voters and drive future policy initiatives, allowing you to put your community first. Another aspect to think about when governing an office is the support staff that may be available to you. Depending on the office, some positions, such as municipal clerk roles, will have deputies or other support staff in the office. If you are elected to a common council seat in a large city, you likely will have a legislative staff member who is there to help assist you in all public policy matters and constituent relations issues as well. Some of these individuals are hired by the municipal human resource departments, while other positions must be filled by the elected officials themselves. If you're in a position where you are given support staff and are in charge of hiring them, it's important that you take your time and carefully consider an individual to fill the position. If you're in a position in a large city, there will be a lot of bills coming past your desk and a lot of different aspects of public policy to consider. The support staff are there to help you, and you will want to try and find an individual with experience and knowledge of public policy to maximize your bandwidth. These individuals will help steer your office. You'll want to try and find the individual that will work best with you and fit with your ideas of how you want the office to run. If you're a recently elected municipal clerk, you may want to find a deputy or support staff member who has administrative experience. You probably want someone who has a general knowledge of how elections work or how local taxes are collected. Try to find an individual who will best fit with the role that you were elected to and has different knowledge and experience than you do. Earlier, we talked about positions such as common councils or town boards, where you will be responsible for voting on bills as they come through to the governing board of which you serve. You will be voting on issues often, so it's important to understand how the process works. There are a few ways that municipal elected officials can vote. Some municipalities will implement electronic voting measures where the official will select yay or nay on their electronic device. Other municipalities will use paper and even voice votes. The process will vary depending on the municipality or the office you are in. Be sure to check with the head of the legislative body for specifics on how the voting system works. If you were recently elected to a state legislative type office, you will want to familiarize yourself with how to read legislation and propose bills. Depending on the office, the municipality, and state, there will be different ways the legislation is written. Often legislation is written by an on-staff attorney or someone in another role, such as a clerk position. It can vary who writes the legislation, but by and large, all legislation will read similarly. Prior to getting into your new role, you may want to start to read different pieces of legislation to familiarize yourself with how it is written. If you do not have much experience with this in the past, it is even more so recommended that you do so now ahead of time. A great way would be to start with legislation that has been through your role before, such as a common council or state legislature. If you are elected to a smaller municipality where this may not be feasible, you could start reading your state legislature's bills, of which most are easily accessible online. Getting a head start with reading and understanding legislation will benefit you as you grow into your newly elected role, making it easier for you to get your priorities and those of your constituents through the pipeline sooner. Most offices, such as common councils, will have committees and subcommittees within the greater elected board. These committees and subcommittees will oversee very specific positions or areas of responsibility. These committees can range on topics such as economic development, police and fire commissions, public works, finance, personnel, and zoning to neighborhood development. Each municipality will have different committees, but each one will be focused on a particular policy area. For the office you are elected to, the process for committee assignments will vary. Many common council presidents or other heads of the board you are elected to will assign members to committees themselves, while others may ask members for their preferred committee area. If you're a newly elected member of the board or council where you will be serving on a committee or subcommittee, there is a chance you will serve on a committee with a policy area that you do not know much about. See this as an opportunity for you to expand your knowledge on a policy area you were not familiar with. Another component of governing and passing legislation is lobbying. Lobbying is the process of trying to persuade or influence someone who plays a role in the policymaking process, typically to introduce a specific piece of legislation or vote a certain way. Lobbying is generally done by interest groups and fellow elected officials. However, sometimes you will see everyday constituents lobby you as well. During your time in office, you will need to contend with lobbying from a variety of parties, with it important to balance the lobbying of outside groups with the interest of your constituents. As an elected official, it is your responsibility to do what is best for the people and community that you represent. As a clerk or election administrator, you may be lobbied on certain election processes. Issues like electronic tabulation versus hand count, voter roll purges, early in-person voting, and others will come up. Individuals or groups will want you to change the way things are done or improve how things are done. It is your job to balance this lobbying with the responsibility of looking out for your elections and your constituents. During your time in office, you will be interacting with lots of different people, most of whom we've already discussed. However, an area of note is your relationships with fellow elected officials. Having good relationships with fellow elected officials is a wise thing to maintain. You'll want to be able to lobby them and leverage your relationship to help pass legislation or work on issues that you feel will help your constituents. Allowing yourself to work with others will make you a more effective elected official and ensure that your time in office is much more successful and enjoyable. Be sure to introduce yourself to all your fellow elected officials upon election and start working on those relationships. It's very important that you keep your campaign separate from your elected office, often referred to as the official side. During the course of your term, you may decide to run for re-election or seek election to a new office. However, the Hatch Act mandates that all elected officials must keep campaign activities separate from official government activities, forbidding you from any political activities while on the clock for your official role. Let's start with the difference between the official side and the campaign side. Campaign side activities are done to elect or re-elect yourself or another to an official role. Campaign activities include fundraising, spending campaign money, having phone calls on behalf of the campaign, such as to coordinate GOTV efforts, raise money, or even just to talk about re-election, sending campaign-related emails, texts, and more. The campaign side is anything at all involving your re-election or election to a new office, including that of another individual. Official side activities are anything done to fulfill the responsibilities of your official role. Some examples of this include assisting a constituent with an issue that is affecting them, attending a common council meeting, or voting on legislation. If part of your role is to implement a local river cleanup and you go out on Saturday to help clean the local river, this will be an official side activity as well. But if you are at the local river cleanup, you cannot tell people to vote for you, push them to get out the vote, or wear campaign clothing. You must keep official government activities separate from your campaign activities, from what is done in person to what is posted on social media. It is recommended that you tread carefully and make sure to separate the official side from the campaign side as best you can. Remember, the more you can do to separate the two, the better off you will be in the long run. Now that you have a better understanding about the day-to-day in your new role, it's time to look beyond your current term in office. At some point during your term, there will be an opportunity for you to look at what is next and explore running for re-election or running for a different office. It's recommended that you continue to maintain the relationships with individuals you met or who helped you along the way during your campaign. Supporters, volunteers, stakeholders, and donors are still important to you. You should try and maintain all of these relationships as you continue into your term in office. By continuing these relationships, you will have a leg up when you either run for re-election to the same office or seek a different one. While you continue to maintain relationships with people you met along the way, you should also consider continuing to raise money for re-election. Depending on the level of the race and the district you are in, this may not be as necessary for some as it is for others. However, raising money as a candidate takes time, and the more you can get done ahead of time, the better off you will be. Thank you for joining us in this lesson on how to govern in your newly elected position. We hope that it has given you some insight in how to be a successful and effective leader. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at the email on screen. Thank you and have a great day.